All right, all right. So here we go. Once again, we back again. We just creating this unified coalition among Hebrew Israelites. And I say Hebrew Israelites, but the branches stand out to, other nations of people that's righteous conscious, that's conscious righteousness, dealing with a righteous consciousness, because I believe the Hebrew Israelites, we're gonna be the light of the world, but then also with that, we can be the light to the Gentiles, but these Gentiles, they're gonna be following us. And I'm gonna use the word nations. These nations gonna follow us. The roles is gonna change, and we're gonna be the ones, giving the decree on the world, governing the world in a righteous governing, So we gotta start preparing ourselves and doing this is gonna happen by us actually doing it, mobilizing and unifying and actually doing it, so with that being said, I got my brother Tez in the building, man. Brother Tez, can you just introduce yourself to the people, man, before we go jump into the questions?
Oh, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm Tez, man. Of course, like a lot of brothers, I'm from the diaspora. You know, um, yeah, man, I'm 37 years old. I have a wife. I have five children, all boys. Yeah, from Detroit, Michigan. Uh, of course, we both have in common. We was a part of an organization. I started there maybe, almost 8 years ago. Long time. But yeah, man, decided to. Uh, move abroad. So I've been over back and forth to Africa for about 5 years now, specifically Tanzania. So I met this brother. It's been about what, 3, 4 years now? 3, 4 years that we met.
Yeah, about 3 4 years
Um,
ago. Well, we met not like I said in the previous organization, but yeah, we've been since we've been over in East Africa, we've been communicating and working together. We work with the NGO, together and stuff like
yeah.
that. The work that y'all brothers was doing in Tanzania, and the work
Mhm.
we're doing in Kenya. You helped along with that work. So now we're going to take this to another level when it comes to uniting our people and still being able to do that charitable work, within the NGO. So, but yeah, man, that's definitely been, a blessing to be working with you and to be able to build with you, in these last couple of years,
Can I say one thing though,
Yeah,
real
go
quick?
ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, I was just but I wanted to give you your flowers, bro. Like you, ever since I met you, you've been pretty much consistent, and you never kind of put the shovel down. You've been steady working, moving and grooving like how you do. Um, not a lot of people can stay consistent like that. You get what I'm saying? When I met you, I wasn't too sure. I'm like, okay, this brother is he, but you always had that vision and you stuck to it. And you made a lot of things happen. Actually, you helped me in a lot of ways, even living abroad, you had, a lot of good suggestions and things like that. So I appreciate that, bro. Keep doing what you do.
All praises to the
You
Most High,
inspiring a lot.
man. Man, I appreciate you, man. All praise to the Most High. We just gonna be these vessels to bring forth the kingdom of the Most High. So let's jump into these questions right here, man. Let me ask you this: what are some commonalities we can focus on when it comes to nation building? Like, what are some of the commonalities that we have amongst Hebrew Israelites that we can actually focus on, to help build this unified governmental construct?
When you say Hebrew Israelites, you mean people that's in the know or just
Yeah, they identify themselves as Hebrew Israelites. They there's amongst different Hebrew Israelites communities. That identify themselves as the children of Israel in today's time.
Okay, so if you identify or you know that you Israel, you should automatically want to be self-sufficient. Of course, a lot of times we kind of get caught up in like the mysticism of things. The Most High gonna save us out of things, but you got to think we serving the same God that gave Moses a stick and told him to go tell Pharaoh, the biggest empire at that time, to let his people go. So I think the common thing is to not be oppression, man. Um, I don't want my children to be suffering, no more. I don't want them to have to bow down to somebody for a job. And of course, we know the time is ticking. We got the enemies at the door. These people is not playing with us, man. You know what I'm saying? Of course we talk about this awakening all the time, but they're only gonna allow us to do what we're doing so long. So the commonality that we have, man, we all being hunted down. You know what I'm saying? These people is trying to destroy our nation. You got depopulation and all that. I can get real deep. But most of all, I want to say just self-sufficiency, man. I desire to have my own farm, my own food, my own school. Of course, I homeschool my children, so I'm sure there's other brothers out there that got children. There's other brothers out there that got wives. So we should be family. We all came off the same ship. We all from the same diaspora. So hey man, we all should have, the same blessings and curses. Well, we want them blessings, but we got them same curses that we faced in the past, that should bring us together.
Gotcha. Nah, definitely, man. So you say one of the commonalities we can focus on is, building ourselves up to be a self-sufficient, a nation, a self-sufficient nation. Specifically dealing with the Hebrew Israelites that's a part of that's part of the diaspora that's, leaving the land of our captivity, leaving Babylon, leaving America, and then coming, to the Indic lands, coming to Africa, and settling in Africa. One of the things that we can actually, come together with is that we're desiring to have that self-sufficiency, lifestyle, to where we're controlling our own food, controlling our own children education, controlling, how we want to, set up things within our societies, so I definitely feel, that's something we should be focused on. That's something like that's outside of doctrine. We don't have that doctrine, don't have nothing to do with us trying to be self-sufficient. We can argue till we blue in the face with each other about different doctrine, and both of us probably be wrong and be right about things, but that ain't gonna get us nowhere. What can get us somewhere of focusing on, okay, this is how we're gonna be able to feed ourselves, and be able to operate as a nation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And let me say one more thing. Sorry to
Hmm.
cut you off.
No, you're good.
But yeah, most of all the kingdom though, because I was just talking to my son the other day, and I was telling him like, pretty soon, because I have him doing certain things now that he's getting older, but pretty soon I tell him like, our children gonna be replacing us. We ain't getting no younger. And I tell him like, I'm holding up the roof of this house like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mhm.
the man of the house. But as you get older and taller, you gotta hold it up too. And as the other brothers they get older, my arms start to get weak. So they have to relieve us. So we have to be teaching them, giving them the tools and the direction. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
we can't harp on just being under the curses for too long. We have to break those curses ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So most
Definitely.
definitely. But
We gotta
you was
reverse
touching
them.
on something real important.
Definitely, man. We gotta reverse them. Let me ask you this. From your point of view, why do Hebrew Israelites put ideology over nation building? And can you elaborate to the viewers, like, why do, we supposed to be the light of the world, using our intellect, using our intelligence to help, shift the dynamics of this world, you know, why do we so quick to argue and debate with each other? Debate, people be debating, all the people pay money to see debates, like, why do we put ideology over nation building? Can you talk to the people?
I don't think, of course, there's stuff going on in the world, but I don't think that people think it's serious enough, man. I don't think people realize the direness or the seriousness that we in or the times that we in right now. People really just, they getting their money from, they got their attention online or whatever. People think they deep, knowledge puff them up. So I think everybody just comfortable, man. Everybody just comfortable when all these things start to happen. What's going on in the country to make people uncomfortable because the Most High will allow a lot of these things to happen to make us uncomfortable. So we're gonna have to come together. You get what I'm saying? But there's gonna have to be people before these things happen that we've already been planning or putting things together for when things start to unfold. So, man, yeah, and I think, like I said, I think it's just really just knowledge, man. Knowledge puffing up. Um, brothers try to seem like they got more than the next person. It's division. It's a couple things, division. You got a lot of these. I think a lot of these leaders in the way too, man. A lot of these leaders, standing in the way, and a lot of us we want to be comfortable within those organizations or these religions, So once we step aside from our pride in these organizations and we have a conversation man to man and we find what's more important, I think we can get past that.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And that's what, trying to get people, well, we're getting people to see, we're getting people to see, that we're giving them an opportunity to look past that, of that, bickering with each other over these little differences that we have amongst each other, um, and it's really coming to a point where that's been one of the biggest tools used by the enemy, is these different, doctrines, within the awakening of Hebrew Israelites. It's being used as a tool to keep us from not actually coming together and being like, you know what, let's create our own government, for a lack of words. Let's create our own correlation, coalition. Let's create our
Right.
own coalition. Let's create our own administrative, network system to where that is functioning as a nation, But these different doctrines, these different ideologies, amongst Hebrew Israelites seem to always take the front seat, the driver's seat of this thing. Um,
Yeah. Pride, man, pride too.
mhm.
When John the Baptist was baptizing, and they was watching them. They didn't want to partake in it, but they just watching. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't want to. We don't want to come to a common ground. Like, hey, you know, we all at a base level. People still
Mhm.
want to hold positions, and so yeah.
No, definitely, definitely. Let me ask you this. Do you think it's impossible for us, you know, for us to have our own unified coalition structure, with our own governmental representatives, our own diplomats, our own, do you think it's impossible? We saying these things, we about to have this big meeting on the 14th of September, moving towards, that goal. Do you think it's something impossible? Are we just wasting our time? Do you think it's impossible?
No, it's definitely not impossible, man. We got the talents amongst us. You know what I'm saying? What you out here doing, what you do, it's so many brothers doing the same thing, man, but they're not putting it together. I know brothers from Tanzania to Kenya, to Israel, to Egypt, all the way to West Africa, back to America. Everybody got something going on, but we not putting the puzzle pieces together. We all got talent, we got the talent, but it's just the coming together, the uniting. So I think it's very much possible. I think we just have to, brothers like you, you know, who going to different places, traveling, trying to put these talents together. I think it's gonna happen. I don't think that is. I'm not gonna say it's possible or not. It's gonna happen. It's we gonna do it. Somebody gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
most definitely, it's possible, brother.
Nah, definitely. Like we said, like putting the puzzle together. We got to put these puzzles together. Everybody got a piece of the puzzle. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle. We got to humble ourselves and be like, you know what? Let's put this puzzle together. Because I truly believe the greatest fear of the world controlling powers is seeing a unified coalition of conscious brothers and sisters, together creating their own avenue, creating their own world, you know, and the unification of it, like, with our different, with our different, doctrines, seeing it come together, seeing a nation being formed, and operating as a nation, working towards self-sufficiency. First, self-governing, then self-sufficiency, working towards these things and doing these things, in stages and seeing the results from these things. I believe that's the biggest fear, for the powers that's ruling the world right now. They fear the slaves coming together, creating something that can actually combat against what we know today's world, rulership is, so you know, and I like I said, I believe it's gonna happen. It's prophecy is gonna happen. It's just like you
Sure.
said, is we're gonna do it. I believe so. I believe we're gonna be the ones to do it. The spirit is moving around and is gonna allow it to happen. Let me ask you this last question right here. What are some key principles we need to create and what are some key principles we need to create and maintain our own unified coalition? Like, what are some key principles that we need, to be able to create and maintain, our own construct?
Um, man, I know this sound corny, but really love, man. Love for not just love for one another, but love for our people in general, man. Respect, man. Respect. Because once you disrespect your brother or your sister, it's hard to piece that back together. But just a love for the nation, man. I think to get to this point, you have to have some type of love for what you do, or love for for your people, to even try to put this together or try to step forward to even try to not speaking to you, but just in general, because you putting together something. So everybody that's gonna step up to the plate, you know, and I'm not trying to get far off. What did you? Can you repeat that right quick? Sorry.
Yeah, now you good. Like, what are some key principles, that we need, to be able
Okay,
to
yeah, my
create
bad.
and maintain our own, government, basically.
For sure. Yeah, so I know I touched on it before, but self-sufficiency, but most of all, respect, love. We gotta we gotta remember that we all kind of fresh in this thing, right? So we in a time where we all just staring at, like you say, the puzzle piece. We looking at the uh, we looking at all the things that our forefathers went through. We looking at the crack epidemic. We looking at all these things. We looking at the destruction of our people, and we're saying, hey, what we trying to figure out what we gonna start cleaning up at. You know what I'm saying? You grab a broom over there. I'm gonna grab a dustpan. You go over there. So, but most of all, man, just like I say, it's gonna be love. It's gonna respect and the willingness to get up out of this, man, and to connect back with our God. But we have to do something first. You get what I'm saying? The Most High is waiting on us a lot of times. You get what I'm saying? When you go in the book of Judges and all those books, there was men that had to do these things, these actions. You get what I'm saying? Of course, the Most High added to that and made things possible, but you got to get up and do something. So the willingness to get up out of this, man. But yeah, most of all, love and respect for each other.
Nah, definitely, man. And and with the love, we ain't talking about holding hands, walking through, some flowers,
Nah,
walking through. We talking about really the love that you will have, that you will have for yourself, you will want for your brother. Like, and then that love also that want to have our people out of the situation that we is in, in a total in totality, the situation that we are in as a nation, want to get us out of that situation, and bring us, back to a situation to where that we're not oppressed, we're not dealing with, poverty. We're not, dealing with, bunch of murders and stealing among each other, bring us back to a society, that's going to rule, with a with a righteous light, so that's I definitely, feel what you're saying, man, but yeah, real talk, bro.
yeah, yeah. You got to be willing to. We got to be tired of this world, man. Tired of this kingdoms, and
Mhm.
because when the Most High went to the rich man, well, the rich man went to Christ. And he asked him what else he got to do to receive the kingdom of heaven. And he told him, sell everything you got. Of course, we all know, and he couldn't let it go, man. He couldn't let his riches go. So I think if we all, because it's gonna take finances, it's gonna take everything that we have, but we just don't trust each other. Another principle is trust, man.
Yeah.
We got to be able to trust in the process and trust in each other, but that's going to take coming together and building. That's how you build the trust with coming together, fellowship, and things like that. But yeah, most definitely, man. I'm tired, man. I need some people. We need to come together, man. It's time. You know what I'm saying? We can't keep sitting back talking about what's gonna happen. We gotta be the resistance, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, man. We gotta play our roles, play our roles in this in the book, basically. We read the book. Let's play the roles within the book that we say we are. We say we Hebrew Israelites, we say we God's chosen people, so let's operate like God's chosen people. And like you said, in the Gospels, it mentioned, you know, the rich man asks, he asked the Messiah, he asked Yeshua, he asked him like, hey, how do you you know, how do we get out of this situation? I'm like, he asked like, hey, how can I follow you? Like, what can I do to follow you? I want to get out of this situation that I'm in. How can I follow you? Sell everything. He didn't want to let these things of this world go. And that's pretty much, where a lot of our people is at. Even Hebrew Israelites, we don't want to let a lot of these things of this world go. We don't want to even let, we so, so guarded up with some of these doctrines, that we can't even, put that to the side and focus on nation building. We so guarded up with this world, we don't want to let it go. We don't want to let it go. We don't want to let go of the internet. We can create our own internet. We using it right now as an outlet to reach our people. But when we form our own government, when we form our own, nation, we should be able to create our own internet. So where we don't have to see the things that's on the internet that's influencing, us. It's influencing us. A lot of things is influencing us. A lot of things is actually, controlling our thoughts from certain things. We got to be able to we have the minds, to create our own internet, so that's like all that stuff plays a part on a bigger scale, once we actually start putting our minds together and formulating, our own unified network, so man, it's
We
definitely,
need.
man.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
Are you good? You good? Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, man, I like what you put together. The whole construct and the structure of everything. That's what we're gonna need right there. We're gonna need, you know, we're gonna need some and I mean like real elders. That experience life, some older brothers. You know what I'm saying? That
Mm-hmm.
can see things and see things for what they are and utilize people for what they need them for. And we're gonna need some humility. We're gonna need all that, man. Yeah, when we was coming out of Egypt, you already know we had everything was structured. You get what I'm saying? And we had to get people out the way too. But yeah, most definitely. I like what you're doing, man. And I'm here, man. Whatever I can do, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a
Definitely,
I'm just
definitely come to the
piece of the
meeting,
puzzle.
man, on September 14th, man. Help, put your mind into this, with us, put your mind into it, so we can formulate this thing, so we can move to the next stage of it,
Mm,
then after we done with that stage, we're gonna move to the next stage. And after we done with that stage, we're gonna move to the next stage, until
mhm.
everything is looking the way it's supposed to look, when the nations is looking at us, they're gonna look at it and say, you know what? They got their own coalition going on. They have their own construct, and it's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of building. It's gonna take a lot of trust. It's gonna take a lot of love. It's gonna take a lot of understanding. It's gonna take a lot of meetings. It's gonna take a lot of action planning. It's gonna take a lot of putting the actions into putting our words into actions. It's gonna take a
Mhm.
lot of things, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, my brother.
When
So
the
definitely,
African
man.
summit coming up, man, the African summit, we all need to get, you know, see and lock eyes and touch. We all need to come together, physically too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. We're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Definitely, man. We gotta
Sure, for sure.
all that's gonna happen, man. All that is gonna happen. But thank God for the all praise to the Most High for the use of the internet. That I sometimes I think and be like, you know what, it may had to happen at this time, to where we'd be able to reach brothers and sisters, in a faster way through the internet. We'd be able to reach a brother in all the way in West Africa while we all the way, in East Africa, and it could be done a certain way until we get to, come see each other and have that big fellowship, have those big summons, those big conferences, in person, you know, um, and it works a better way rather than being on the phone all the time and, doing things like that. So we're gonna use what we got for our advantages, you know, and then we're gonna use their system for our advantages to create our own system. We're gonna use their system to create our own system, you know. Um, but definitely, bro, man, it was definitely good to chop it up with you, man, and most high willing you be there at the meeting on the 14th. And
14.
anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
Uh, hmm. Yeah, man. I appreciate you inviting me on, giving me the time, and that's a blessing in itself. Yeah, man. The seriousness is now. We need to get it going now. Nobody starts preparing when the lights go out. You know what I'm saying? Of course, a lot of us left America. That shows that we have a lot of faith, but it's time to take it to that next level. So yeah, man, that's all. I ain't gonna talk too much. That's it, man.
Definitely, man. Appreciate you, man. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, bro.